What is going on, Ghost Squad? Uh, my name is Trey Miller with Ghost Tactical, and welcome to Tactical Tuesday. We are streaming live on YouTube and on gunchannels.com. We've got a couple of guys that'll be joining us here in a bit. We're going to start out going solo, which is just fine with me. I like to hear my voice. We're going to get started out here with a couple topics tonight. We're going to talk about cover versus concealment. A big thing about that is when you're talking home defense and self-defense, some people are either confused or don't know what the cover versus concealment is, but we're going to talk a little about that. We're going to talk a little bit about military moments and what's going on over in North Korea, which could get on a whole big um, rant, if you will. We'll do that. And we're also going to talk a little bit about some news that's out of California when it comes to compact pistols. But before we get going, guys, I want to thank everybody for watching. And obviously, guys, if you are on the YouTube side, I cannot see if you're in. Grim, Grim, you're always here, bro. I sent you a link in the chat on the Gun Channel side. If you'd like to join us, I'd love to have you. Unsung hero, but if you want to come on in. Deuce Driver 610, what's up, my man? Welcome to the show. On the Gun Channel side, I can obviously see who is in. And right now we've got Alien. What's up, my man? Alien. We've got Mr. Wright, Dr. Gino, Cycle Camp. Guys, I feel for you guys. I sent links to join in if you want to. Check your chat box on the Gun Channel side, and you're more than welcome to join in. But guys on the YouTube side, if you're here, go ahead and say what's up. We won't know if you're here unless you do say something. I've got a question. Feel free to make any comments, questions. We'll try to answer it. Like I said, we're going to have a couple more join in here in a bit. Um, right now, we're going to go solo, which is just fine. I always start out my broadcast to talk about gun channels. If you're not on the gun channel side yet, we'd love to have you. I've been on for a few weeks, almost a month, I guess, a few weeks, and heard about it from Clover Tack, and he got me over there. And guys, if you're a gun nut or a Second Amendment guy, Gun Channels is the place to be. We've really got a great community of people. We have a good time. We have a 24-hour chat. And most of your favorite live shows that are on the YouTube side, they're also being simulcast on Gun Channels as well. So I'm going to put a link over in the YouTube side that if you're interested, um, come on over. And we'd love to have you. I think Alien joined last week. So welcome, bud. Let us know what you think of the Gun Channel side and all that jazz. So Gun Channels is great. Fantastic. So before we get going, I want to talk about a couple other ventures that Ghost Tactical and I have. Um, I want to thank everybody for continuing to watch and support the show, and I hope you guys are still enjoying the content. I put a couple of videos out in the last couple of days. I hope you're enjoying that. We did start a VidMe channel, and VidMe is uh, I would say it's a YouTube alternate channel that doesn't have a whole lot of gun content on there. So a bunch of us from gun channels have decided to start on VidMe also, and put most of the same kind of content that we have on YouTube on VidMe. And we've had actually a really positive response so far. I'm going to put a link on the YouTube side of my VidMe. And let's see here, Driver. What is a good show that streams on Thursday nights? I usually watch the YouTube podcast the following day at work. Any input is appreciated. Have a show for everything except Fridays. Thursday, we've got several shows. If you go to gunchannels.com, and it's free to join. If you go to gunchannels.com, at the very top, you'll see a button that says live, and it will, I'll put a link in here. real quick. And what it will do is give you the lineup for every day. And remember that most of these shows are East Coast times. So when you're looking at the live, the times they're shown are East Coast times, but they'll have a show of every night and every hour of what's being shown of every day. And there's shows every day. Um, so if you haven't been to Gun Channels yet, go check it out, and it will give you the show lineup at the very top of the screen. Hit the live button and all that. So we've got Cycle Camp joining us. Cycle, what's up, my man? How you doing, bud?
Hey, not too much. I saw you were out here by yourself, so I figured I'd join in.
Yeah, I've got a few that are a little bit late. They told me they'd be in a bit late, but right now, I started the show going solo, so it's all good. But just trying to talk little gun channels right now. I always start my show out trying to promote gun channels. How is your experience, and how long have you been up on gun channels?
I'm really not into time, man. So I have a hard time figuring that out. I think I've been around maybe a little more than a year,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, this is my dinner thing to do. I whip up dinner between 6 and 7, and I sit down and start listening to the Daily Gun Show, and then let it roll from there.
Absolutely. G Webs and Smeggy, and unfortunately, Dano is going to have to leave the show. I think Thursday's his last show. But guys, the Daily Gun Show is on Gun Channels and on the YouTube side on the Daily Gun Show every day at 6 o'clock Central, which is 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. But every day, and they're on right now for a little bit longer. They usually start. So it's a great show to get on, and they talk about different things. But yeah, Daily Gun Show is awesome out there. Um, so Dr. Gino, what's up, my man? Go ahead and say what's up. I know you're on mute, but what's going on, my brother?
How you doing there, my friend? Thanks for having me, inviting me. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Going back to the different ventures, the VidMe, I put my thing on VidMe up there. What's up, Hemi? What's up, Grim? Um, on the YouTube side. VidMe, we like I said, a bunch of us from gun channels kind of started to see, is this going to be an alternate to YouTube? Not saying we're leaving YouTube, but VidMe is one of those places that does not have a whole lot of gun community content right now and Second Amendment content. So we try to see what it is, and actually, in the last week or two, it's actually blown up for a lot of us. I just become a verified channel, which probably doesn't mean a whole lot to a lot of you, but for us, the content producers, it means quite a bit. You have to have 50 followers, and you have to have certain criteria on there. And what it does is allow at that point to be able to put in content that's over 30 minutes. It also allows us to be monetized and receive tips, which is kind of cool because what it does is if the viewer likes the content that we're putting out, um, it does cost money for some of these things, and we've got plans to do different things, and you can leave us tips. And that kind of comes right to the content producer. So if you're interested in doing that, we'd love your support. We did start a Patreon account, and what Patreon is another I'm going to put my link in the Patreon YouTube side for you guys. And what Patreon basically is another way to support your content producers that you like watching their shows, equipment costs, traveling if they take their show on the road. And it could be as little as $1 a month. It's very minimal, but if you like that to help the content producers out, we'd love to have your support. Thank you once again for everything that you guys have done for me. I've only been in the game for a short time, a couple of months now, and I'm really excited about the growth I've had and where we're going to be going. So we got a lot of really cool things planned. So I'm really excited about that. I will put down the gun channel side also, guys, if you want to do the Patreon. There it is. Deuce Driver. So what is the last purchase everyone has made in the firearm related? Doesn't matter if it's a gun and or accessories. Well, hell, let's just jump right in. The last thing I just bought, I just got off a buddy of mine a week or two ago who needed some money, so I gave him a few dollars, and I got me another AR. It's a Core 15 that's already been modified with flashlight. I've got a holographic scope on there. It's got a laser attachment, so it's already been pretty cool. So just another little carbine that I love shooting. Cycle, what's your last purchase?
I just picked up an Enfield number 5 Mark 1
Wow,
jungle
that's
carbine in excellent condition. I
fantastic.
I already had one, but it had been sportsterized, and I was going to bring it back to as issued condition, like I did with the Arasaka that I had a few months ago that I did the videos on. But even though this one was a little pricier, it was all together and it was in great shape. And I learned my lesson. When you find stuff like that, you just buy it.
Yeah, they don't come around very often, so you're going to have to take your chance and do that. So that's awesome. Gino, what you got? Your last purchase?
Actually, my very last is a stabby thing, not a shooty thing.
There you go.
Cool.
What you got?
I got a Joe Watson Kaidon fixed blade daily carry in S3VN steel. It's actually really nice.
Nice. Would you pick that up at a show or just at a store or what?
No, actually, I got it in the Joe Watson Facebook trading group.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Would you trade?
No, I didn't trade for it. I just bought it outright.
Okay.
But
Bought it outright,
people,
there you go.
people post for sales or trades or whatever. But
Green
it's not like a market. It's not like a store. It's just like a private market.
Yeah. Let's see. Deuce Driver says mine was a Keltec PLR 22 and purchased a suppressor, paid for everything. Now just have to wait for the government to run around with a tax stamp. Good luck with that. That's always fun to wait for that, but it'll show up pretty soon, and you'll be able to do your thing out there.
Is that a Form 4 thing?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I don't think that the suppress. Well, I don't think so.
I can't remember which form number that is.
I think it's a Form 1. I believe it's a Form 1 because you're. I think it's a Form 1, but I might be mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's a Form 1 though. Hemi says my last purchase was a Rhino. Been doing more trading lately. There you go. Big Gunner. Big Gunner just ordered another Glock 19 this time, just a frame. There you go. Can never have too many Glock 19s. My favorite gun ever. Can never have too many Glock 19s. I know there's a lot of Glock haters out there, but they're haters because they're jealous, so it's all good. Let's see. I got a chat message coming in. Who is this from? Night Strike. Hey, he's having some difficulties. Going to try to jump in before his show, guys. If at the top of the hour, you're going to have Night Strikes hit or miss at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. So join him hopefully right after this. I will start out by this, guys. My first topic is going to be in a home defense or self-defense situation, the difference between cover and concealment. It's a topic that a lot of people either get confused about or just in general have difficulties understanding what it is. And that's okay because it is relatively confusing. So we're going to talk about that. And I'll sit there and say that my initial statement is going to be is that all cover is concealment, but not all concealment is cover. So what we're going to do, I guess we could start out by basically going over the definitions of what cover and concealment is. And cover, I'm going to read out a quote unquote definition. So you guys, cover is a place you want to be when the bullets start to fly because it's anything that will stop the bullets. A concrete wall, a telephone pole, a car's engine block. These are all places where, you know, when you're in that situation, the bullets aren't going to fly through and get you. It's something that's solid that you can be safe behind. Concealment is they can block your view from the threat, but they will not block rounds. So yes, they do conceal your position, but when their bullets start flying, they necessarily won't stop them. We'll say wooden doors, wooden fences, car doors. Dano and I had this discussion earlier in the chat that car doors in certain situations could be, but you're going to have the rounds are going to have to hit exactly where the mechanized parts of the window are inside the door. But 99% of the time, car doors are probably not going to be considered cover. They will be considered concealment. But in a home defense situation, guys, if someone was intruding your house and you were defending your family and you needed to get to cover, what are some ideas? What are some places that you guys would go to get good, solid cover?
There is no cover in a modern house almost, because
Very
the walls are made. The walls are made out of 2x4s, or if you're lucky, 2x6s, and sheetrock and
right.
plywood, and you can shoot through any of that stuff.
Yep. Plywood. You know, some of the older houses will still have some brick walls. Yep. They'll have stone walls, stone fireplaces, all that kind of stuff are all cover. But Cycle Camp is very correct that most houses these days are built for value, and I'm not going to say they skim on prices, but the quality of product they're using isn't what it used to be. So there are very few. Bed mattress, people say let's hide behind the bed.
Yeah, that'll work.
No, yeah, don't do that. bed mattresses will not stop bullets, especially at pretty close
Actually, if
range.
you have a clawfoot steel tub, that wouldn't be a bad place.
Yeah.
If it's handgun loads.
The old style tubs you're talking about.
Yep, the steel tubs with the ceramic coatings.
Yeah,
you can put a lot of pistol rounds into one of those before you'll break through it.
You just got to make sure your head's not sticking out on top of that tub, so it defeats
That's right.
purpose. Gino, what you got? Anything you got for cover and concealment?
I was basically going to agree with Cycle there. In a modern house, if you're going to have anything reliable, it's going to be something that you engineered in yourself. You know, some people go to the extent of a safe room, which personally, to me, is a death trap unless it's got some emergency way out. Or the old Crawfoot cast iron bathtub. For me, it's a like last ditch thing where to stuff somebody if you need them to keep their head down or whatever. But just like you said, just casually walking through your house, actually do a mental check to see exactly if there is and how far you are from anything that reasonably represents cover at any given time. And it's minimal to none.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I'm trying to get Big Gunner in here. I'm going to send you the link here, bud. And going back to your mention about safe rooms, and the funny thing is I did a video a week or two ago about single man room clearing and home defense. The reason why I bring that up is one of the things that I always try to quote unquote, I'm not going to say preach, but what I try to talk about is if you're in a home defense situation, you don't want to be in an area that has multiple ways of entry. You want to try to get into a closet or a bathroom that has one way in or one way out, because once you get your family or your loved ones in that room, the next person that walks through that door is there to harm you. So I like what you said about the safe room being somewhat unsafe, because if you're trying to get to a place where there's only one way in and one way out, well, so is the enemy, and so is the threat. So if you're in a safe room and you only have one way out, what do you think they're going to be doing? They're going to be camping out, waiting for you to come out there. If they want to get to you and not your stuff, a safe room is not going to help, because they'll wait it out. And eventually you're going to have to come out unless you're very, very well prepared in that safe room.
Well, that brings up an excellent point. Like you said, you have a plan. Okay. you have a family, and you know that the forethought is the key here, working with what you have. For me, in my particular situation, okay, somebody's going to be barricaded in the master bedroom, don't have any kids to worry about, so that's not an issue. Okay, so that room and the adjoining room, basically the safe room.
Yep.
If for some reason I'm not in fact, I don't consider it clearing when you're one man. Okay,
Right.
you're basically chasing an unknown around the house. Okay, it's an incredibly difficult thing, especially like you say, if you're doing it to gather up kids and family and things. So in my particular situation, if for some reason I'm not content or not able to sit tight and I feel like I need to advance, okay, I know the person that's in that safe room and the dogs and everybody are safe. Okay, so at that point in time, I'm okay with that. So yeah, I understand what you're saying, but to me, under those situations, the way my physical layout is, the way the house is, the, you know, living situations, that's what works for me with my plan. But you're absolutely right. The most important thing is to have a plan and actually execute it. You know,
Yeah.
dry runs like you would do a fire drill with your family.
Absolutely. And in most of my videos, I preach practice and practice and practice. And to some people, it might seem the paranoia and all of that. Well, that's never going to happen. And I hope it never does. But it's just like anything else you do in life. If you're not prepared and you're not proficient in whatever you're doing, you're going to get hurt or you're going to get somebody else hurt. So the point of you're making about practice and dry runs, it's the same thing as a fire drill or a tornado drill. You've got to be able to practice it with your family to everyone knows that no matter where you are in the house, here's a way to get to where you need to be. Here's what we're looking to get, this, that, and the other. So absolutely practice, practice, because if you're ever in that situation, you start to freak out mentally. If you practice it enough, you'll be able to keep calm and all that. So yeah, and I'm not putting down safe rooms at all. I think they're phenomenal. It's just one of those where in a specific situation where you have an intruder who is more looking to harm, kill, kidnap, or whatever, and not looking for stuff, and they're coming for you. Unless your safe room is very well supplied and all that, it could be an interesting time. But I think safe rooms in general are phenomenal, and a lot of people are actually putting them in their houses now. And I know I've got a buddy of mine that's a contractor. Every three houses these days are going. It might be small, it might be what was originally trying to be a closet, but yeah, they're putting safe rooms in there. So it's interesting to see. It's not just getting paranoia anymore. It's more of those that you know they're preparing, and that's what I think it is preparing. Big Gunner, I did send you a link to get in. Check your chat window over on Gun Channels. Come on and join us. Big Gunner's got his show here in about an hour and a half. So we'll make sure we send links into that one to make sure that you guys get over to his show. He's going to follow Hit or Miss, which you never know if it's a hit or a miss. So, but if you get your link, Big Gunner, come on in and join us. We'd love to have you for a few minutes. Night Strike's having some technical difficulties. He usually sits in for the first half of the show, but he has his own show in half an hour, so he might be scrambling a bit to get Hit or Miss up. At this point, guys, I always do it. My halfway point is a military moment. I always try to bring something that the military is involved in and around the world and go from there. This one has not only been a big topic in the news, but we've had some pretty awesome discussions in our chat rooms on gun channels. But we're going to talk about North Korea decided to launch missiles yesterday. Don't know if you guys saw this. I'm sure you have. But they flew over Hokkaido, Japan, which is in the northern part of Japan. My wife's from Okinawa, which is south of mainland Japan, but flew over Japan and landed in the ocean. Is this guy just batshit crazy, or is it me? Uh,
Well, I said it before, and I'll say it again. That the guy, he's like a little kid. He's in the back seat with his finger a half inch from your face, saying, "I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you," and he's trying to figure out how far he can push before
yeah,
we'll make some reaction. And you know, Japan could have shot those down. They were prepared. They have Patriot missiles deployed on the coast now, and they say that they elected not to shoot them down. So they realized that they were not in any real danger. And
right.
to be honest with you, you know, just because you're the big gorilla in the room doesn't mean you beat up the little monkey every time he comes in. So
Yeah.
I really think that that country's going down the tubes. I agree with some of the comments that were made the other day. China is going to stop looking the other way pretty soon because that guy is an embarrassment.
Yeah, and we were talking about China, and I don't remember who it was, but they brought up a really good point. It was last night. It was after Matt's show, and the biggest thing that we were talking about is China because we want to think that China can control North Korea. Well, I don't think anyone can control this guy because he's he thinks he's a god and he's a man child. He's got the IQ and the personality of a teenager. But the thing that was brought up, and I thought was an interesting point, was do we give China the first shot at controlling him and saying, look, either do something with this guy, take this guy out, or we will. Because I think China, and as the point was made, I think it's a good point. I think China eventually would because the biggest thing that China doesn't want to have is little brother looking bad because China has economic reasons to be on the side of the Western civilization, the powers that be, and the superpowers in the world because they say trade and they have the economic reasons. North Korea could eventually hurt those, including Japan. Japan is a sleeping giant out there that hasn't really done anything militarily since World War II because they really haven't been able to, nor do they need to because we've been helping them out. But Japan, you do that enough, and it's crazy. But here's my problem with North Korea. I believe they shot off 3 or 4 of them last week. So the repetition of shooting missiles off is now becoming increasingly more over the last couple of weeks. Is this a sign of what's to come, or is he just? I mean, I don't know what his thought process, but eventually he's going to piss off the wrong dog, and they will bite back. Gino, what do you have any thoughts on North Korea?
Actually, I kind of like the way Cycle Camp put it. He is that little kid, the most special in all of the Olympics.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's a lot of posturing. I think it's a lot of what you say. China recognizes that the Western world is its market. North Korea isn't. They wouldn't really
Yeah.
allow anything to happen. However, I haven't really kept abreast on things. So, would you mind if I just sort of appended your military moment?
Yeah, go for it, bro. Hey, this is whatever happens, man.
Well, I am in Texas, Central Texas, and I just want to put a heartfelt thank you out there to everyone, to the Coast Guard, to the Army, to the Air Force, to all the first responders, to everybody from out of state, the Cajun Navy, to just seeing in action and participating firsthand in the fact that, you know what, it doesn't take a whole bunch of command and control and paperwork and layers to get people together that know how to get a job done and want to get it done. So I just want to thank you out there wholeheartedly for every, from all of us here and to all of you guys that chipped in.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up. I was going to give you a chance to talk about what's going on down there between you and Sean. I've been talking with Sean a little bit. He hasn't been in and out a whole lot. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable what you guys are having to go through. I'm from Dallas, so I'm a Texan. My biggest thought with you guys is that you're okay, and do you need anything? I mean, and if people want to help out, whether it's money or salvation or just supplies. What are something, since you kind of know firsthand what's going on, what are something, is it water or what do people need at this point? Is that they pretty much have lost everything, I'd assume.
Yeah, right now the big thing, and I say this to everybody. I mean, I'm sure there's posts on Facebook. I've been like, this is the first time I got to sit down in the last couple of days, so I haven't been keeping tabs on too much stuff. I'm sure there's organizations there, but to me, what's amazing, HEB is our local grocery. They had a disaster relief convoy like on the road instantly. It was like monumental. Everything from 55-foot long portable kitchens to flatbed carry generators. A lot of local businesses are kicking in. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure through different Facebook posts, there's a bunch of different things for disaster relief. One of the local chains of furniture stores down here has converted all his showrooms into dry spaces and living quarters. Bucky's truck stops, road stops, they've converted their places into first responder stations. And so, like I said, that's where I've been focusing. So anything grander than that, honestly, I really can't tell you. But I know it's like those local places, local things in Texas that are like really making the difference and have been making the difference from the beginning.
Yeah, and like I said, I hope that you guys are okay and everything's I can't imagine the disaster that is, because unless you've been through something like that, man, like I said, I can't even imagine. But if there's anything you need, obviously, you've got a bunch of friends here that are willing to do anything you can. One thing I will say is you mentioned something earlier, and I've read reports about this, the Cajun Navy. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that you're referring to a bunch of people from Louisiana that are bringing their fan boats and their flat bottoms to help people. They're just regular people. Is that correct? That they're bringing their boats in to help people get them out where some other access, they don't have access to get to these people. Is that right? I saw a report about that.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. They were, from what I understand, they came out of Hurricane Katrina, and they're the locals there that just grew up in the environment, had the knowledge of the terrain, and had the knowledge of operating boats in shallow waters like that. And we actually have quite a contingency of things like that here. A lot of duck boats, a lot of lake boats, a lot of shallow water boats, guys on jet skis, and yeah, I mean the Cajun Navy has experience in it, and they've worked together before, and they're on their own a good cohesive group, and so it was good to have some of their experience in actually doing this before, combined with the local people here who were willing to hop in, and this was our backyard, and we knew the terrain.
Right. And like you said, and the one thing that fascinates me, and this is why there's a lot of things obviously that I love about America, but one of the few things that really intrigue me is we can go 99% of our lives and we can sit there and battle between Republicans and Democrats, and we hate them and we hate them. And we had a tragedy happen in Charlottesville that we had two groups that ideologically hated each other, and some things have happened. We've talked about that enough. I don't want to bring that up. But one thing I do love about America is anytime that there is a disaster, we are able to set aside political and social differences and come together to help each other out. And I saw a picture on Facebook that kind of said it all, and it was obviously a flood zone and water up to the waist and all that. And you had some black people that were in basically a raft being pulled by a white person. And then the other side was a white family being pulled and helped to safety by a black person. And it said, America, all lives matter. And that for me was huge. I said, it is so good to see when we have so much crap and all this shit that's going on in the world and especially in our country that's bad. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a disaster to come together. But every now and then, it's nice to see that we as Americans remember that we're all Americans. We're not just Democrats, Republicans. We're Americans first. And man, like I said, gee, if you need anything, you know where we are, and we'll help you out in any way we can. Raphael on the YouTube side said at texasmonthly.com has a good link for info about how to help on their front page. So if you're interested in helping out and in supporting the stuff going down there, texasmonthly.com is a good place. All right, so we've got someone who just joined, and I've been blowing this guy up. And most of the guys, if you watch any of our shows, he is a supporter of basically every show that comes on, and it's Grim90. And Grim, the unsung hero and supporter, there's AC97, there's Hemi, there's a bunch of you guys out there, but Grim, I don't know if you've been on this side of the camera before, but welcome to Tactical Tuesday, and what's up, my man?
How's it going?
It is nice to have you on the show. I appreciate you joining us.
That's good. Yeah, usually I can't make it because of the kids, but no, I've jumped on the gun channel side with like Dog Body and these guys, mostly John periodically.
Yeah.
But no, just here to support you. Like I said, it's always the kids, and
Yeah.
I figured I'd jump on today real quick. I didn't want to interrupt while you guys were going on, but
no, you're not.
Yeah.
Eric, I just wanted to. I've been trying to get you. I sent you the link a couple times, and like I said, Grim's everywhere. So he's kind of the heart and soul of what we're trying to do. And he goes out and watches all the shows, jumps on occasionally. But thank you for watching, and thank you for being a supporter. And I'm really happy to have you on. Do you have any thoughts on either Korea or the disaster down in Texas?
I think Psycho Camp said it best. He's like that big middle schooler that hasn't quite grown up, but I don't know. He just keeps teasing, and he's waiting for someone to. He's teasing for someone else to throw that first punch. Is what he's doing.
That's a really good point. I think he's throwing these missiles up there to show you that I have the capabilities. But I think you're right. I think he's kind of a little baiting everybody to see who's going to pull the first punch. But unfortunately for him, is I don't think he quite gets that when the first punch is thrown, it's a deadly punch, which basically going to wipe North Korea off the map if it comes to it.
Yeah, I agree there. He just, that's why it's good Japan never, they monitored those ones that were thrown yesterday and, just left them alone, let them by.
Yeah, it could have gotten pretty bad. Like I said, my wife's family lives in Okinawa, so it's on literally the opposite side of Japan. But there's a lot of servicemen, there's a lot of Americans on Okinawa, and in mainland Japan, but especially Okinawa, that for years and years, when I was stationed there, we always knew that Okinawa was always a targeted island for enemy defense missiles, because if you wanted to be able to get to an American installation pretty quickly over in Asia, that's the one. And for the most part, a lot of the people that are over in Okinawa, and at least on the Marine side, were intelligence. And so that's what we were kind of doing, is we were kind of watching other people. So they wanted to take out our mid-range intelligence level. So Okinawa has always kind of been a targeted island. So I hope it doesn't go there, because that's where the other half of my family is, and I love them dearly. Deuce, I follow a YouTube channel that is all about big off-roading vehicles with tractor trailers, self-rescue efforts. All the big trucks from Diesel Brothers are being shipped in. Yeah, I actually heard about something like that, that a lot of these big tractor diesels that have the diesels up top where the water's not going to affect anything are supposedly heading down there. So I think that's pretty awesome too. Gino, have you heard anything about that?
No, that I haven't. The last thing I heard, and another thing too, I'll tell you, in Texas, we do a lot of aerial training, a lot of aerial hog hunting. As far as the gun community is concerned, I know 3 places down here that have helos, and they were in the air like immediately. So hat tip to the gun community. And the last I heard, there were some search and rescues coming in from Alabama, but that was the last that I have personal knowledge of.
Rick, what's up, my man? How you doing?
Hey, not too much. How you doing?
Yeah, we talked a little about North Korea. G was talking a little about the flooding down in Texas. He's got it firsthand knowledge. So jump on in. If you got anything to comment about either one of those?
No, I heard about the flooding stuff. When you mentioned jet skis, I always think about that when there's flooding. I'm like, that'd be really awesome to be able to go out and ride those around the streets. But then also when you think about it, that's more of a tragic situation, and kind of an interesting concept to be able to, if you have access to one of those, to be able to use it for some type of I guess good or help somebody basically.
Yeah, and I think that and what G was talking about also, the Cajun Navy, they're bringing a lot of their flat bottoms and their airboats. I think they're called airboats. I think they're called what they call fan boats, maybe fan boats. They're bringing those in that can go into shallow water to help. Anything that can go into shallow water, I think, is if you've got something, you can get down there. There are people that are literally stranded with, at this point, their thoughts are there's no way out. So because not a whole lot can get to them. So if you've got something, jet ski or something like that, man, if you got time, go down there and get them.
And
I've seen. Sorry, go ahead.
Here's another thing too down here, because you were talking before we welcomed Grim in, about the people coming together.
Yep.
Of course, on top of all this, there's a line of protesters that filed up for when Donald Trump came in. You have everything I've heard, the stupidity of some pastor in Florida saying that Texas got what it deserved because we voted for Trump.
Yeah, that's just stupid.
There's looters out. These guys are actually shooting at some of the rescue boats and have tried to steal a rescue boat. So, in the face of all of that coming together, at least for me anyway, it's more of a in spite of. It's just like it drives the cohesion level and the motivation level so much stronger, it seems to be, in everybody. But just for the Facebook masses and the social media masses, that stupidity still is going on in a lot of people that we've been hearing about down here, and it's just like, oh well.
Yeah, and I was talking with Sean. Sean was on for, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes yesterday in the chat, and we were kind of talking briefly. And he was saying that his neighborhood was one of the few neighborhoods that didn't get hit near as bad as others. Not saying that he didn't get hit with, but not near as bad as others. The unfortunate thing about that is everyone is coming to their neighborhoods trying to loot. And so he actually had to draw on a looter that approached his house. And a little while later, the cops were patrolling the neighborhood. And he said, hey, I just want to be on the lookout. There are looters out there. And Sean was like, yep, I already had a draw on one. And my first reaction was, I wonder how that was taken. Well, here's exactly how it was taken. Oh, okay. So you've already had to draw. So they're active here in your neighborhood. Yes, they are. Hey, brother, do what you got to do. Be safe, and we'll be around. So I think it's kind of cool that the cops are like, hey, we understand we can't be everywhere right now. You're going to have to protect your home. And it was do your thing, man, and good luck. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing.
And here's the thing with the situation that Sean was in, that was organized. He said they had a woman dressed up in a suit, in business clothes with a clipboard.
And they were doing some survey or something, weren't they?
Yeah, in a neighborhood that wasn't flooded yet, and they were supposedly going door to door for emergency preparations. What do you have? Blah 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 blah. And when he talked to the police, they knew that that group was in the area, and like you said, it was just a matter of, in his case, the neighborhood sticking together and like, who are these people and why are they here? But it wasn't just like a random smash and grab thing.
Yeah, and I think he said that there was a lady that would ask about some survey for FEMA or something, and as soon as you open the door, there was 4 or 5 people that were going to jump in and loot the place or whatever the hell they were going to do. So, it's crazy, how people think. And someone sat down in a living room somewhere and said, "Hey, this is an opportunity for us to go steal stuff and all that." And they went through an elaborate plan where they had badges and name tags and all sorts of stuff. And it's amazing to me how low people can go. Rick, I know you're getting ready to say something earlier, so go for it.
A couple things to mention too is, so these people don't really always, they don't think like we do. They think they're earning the money. They're going through all that kind of stuff. They're going through organizing this stuff. They think they're earning it. That's kind of like what I imagine goes on in their mind, from bits and pieces as we've seen from other stories and so forth. I was watching on Facebook, and one of the people, my Facebook feed, was organizing to, I guess, get some helicopters, like looking to get some donations for fuel and things like that to go do some search and rescue type missions, I guess, somehow. And one of the photos, one of the people in the helicopter just used it as a sample photo because I guess he flies helicopters. I don't know what he actually does exactly, but was carrying an AR. And someone commented to the photo, oh, you could probably leave that at home, or you don't really need the AR. This is exactly why. It's to help protect you, because obviously when people are in these type of situations where we've got natural disasters and things, there's going to be the haves, have nots, and people who just want to steal your stuff basically or hurt you.
That was Sons of Liberty Gun Works, and they have their helicopters in the air. They've been for 2 days now, and he's got I don't know if he's got a Patreon or an Indiegogo, but if you head on over to the Sons of Liberty Gun Works website, I'm sure the information's there.
That might be it. I couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah, and it's it's sad that even in a disaster where people's lives have been changed forever, let's make no mistake about it, their lives have been changed forever. You have people looting the ones that still have something, and yes, you have the right to protect your home. And the first thing that people are going to say is like you said, Big, is, why do you have an AR-15? Well, because people are coming to my house and trying to steal my stuff, and no, I'm not going to let that happen. And once again, people need to quit making political statements during disasters. It's most of us don't, and most everybody doesn't. But there are that 1 or 2% that are going to make everything political. And it's like I think G said about the Florida minister saying, "Oh, they're getting what they deserve for voting for Trump." I mean, really, that guy should be taken outside and tarred and feathered or something. I don't know. It's just it drives me nuts. It's like I said, for the most part, America comes together in disasters, and I love that about us.
Absolutely.
Well, the beautiful thing is that the government in Dallas, I mean in Texas, didn't do what they would have done up here in the north. The first thing they would have done was declare martial law and tell everybody they couldn't have their guns.
Yeah, they
would have taken them away, and it's just exactly the opposite of what needs doing. People need to be able to protect themselves.
That's right. Now,
the only thing they are doing.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. The only thing they are doing here is that they are not allowing firearms in any of the public shelters or any of the shelters that the city set up. They're frisking people.
Yeah. Now, Cycle, you're in Connecticut, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So is it just Connecticut, or is it the vast majority of the Northeast that would, is that whole region that would probably go martial law?
Well, none of the free states on the top would do it. Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, they'd tell people to go pound sand.
Yeah.
But certainly, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, that it's like a dead zone here.
What about Pennsylvania?
No, Pennsylvania's not bad. I think they'd be okay. I don't know. I don't know about up near the top of Pennsylvania, Philly, but certainly the rest of Pennsylvania would probably be all right.
Yeah. Let's see here. Sergeant Sharp. Hey, what's up, man? Welcome to the Tactical Tuesday. Guys, like I said on the YouTube side, if you're here, I love the chat that's been going on over there, but say hey. We can't really see you on the gun channel side. Let's see here. We got Knives, Alien, which is a good buddy of mine from my hometown, Ohio 45 ACP, Mr. Wright. Everyone else is already in there. Yeah, and like I said, I wanted to discuss a couple things, but these are more important to talk about, and let's dive a little bit deeper into that Texas being pro-gun as far as in this disaster. G, have you seen, aside from looting, have you seen a lot of gun crimes? Even though people are out there with their guns, I'm interested in this because I wanted to know if people are out there with their guns and they're just spraying everything, or they truly, there might be less crime because they know that people are willing and able to defend their homes. It's an interesting concept.
Well, under these conditions, I think you have a little bit of both. Firstly, no, I haven't seen, any random acts of gun crime. B, yeah, most of the people that I'm working with are armed, absolutely, positively. Like I said, I know the Cajun Navy guys reported being shot at, somebody trying to steal one of their boats, and there's other instances of looting. But the fact remains, whether it be to the deterrence or just to the fact that there is such a monumental job to be done. I mean, I think there's an incredible amount of restraint given everything that's involved here. So I there's always going to be those people that just, like Big said, they don't think the way other people think. But for the most part, absolutely not. I just think the focus and the dedication and the restraint is in doing what needs to be done to get the job done. And that sort of attitude alone, I think, is going the longest to keep whatever crime and mischief is going on, at least at this point, at bay.
And that's good to hear because the last thing that we need is there to be an onslaught of violence going on, because that's just going to fuel the fire saying, see, people that have guns can't control themselves. But it's always nice to hear that, responsible people with guns are doing the right thing.
And like I said, just due to the amount of gun industry that we have here, a lot of the people that responded that I know personally that you brought me into the loop, they're in the firearms industry, they're in the training industry, they're in the hunting industry. The guys with the boats, the guys with the helicopters.
They don't have them just to have them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and these guys were literally, like I said, when you look at what was the first on the ground, these guys, the HEB grocery stores. I mean, just like I said, the like you say, the local group of people coming together.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and that's one of those things that, like I said, I wish it didn't take disasters to do that, because I think that we as a people can learn from this little microcosm of our society when we do come together and say, well, why can't this be an everyday thing? Obviously, we're not thinking politics right now, but why can't we just sit there and say, look, we agree to disagree, but in the end of it, we're all family. We're all one big family, and we're not going to get through some of the crap that we're going through as a country right now if we're completely separated. No matter what happens, if you say something, there's always someone on the other side talking smack about it. Well, sometimes we can sit there and say, you know what, I may be right, you may be right, but for the better of America, let's let it go. And I wish that would happen more often.
You just hit the nail on the head, though. The enemy.
Yeah.
Okay? We're force-fed an enemy daily, and that enemy is designed in some form to be divisive, to divide us up, to pit us against each other. Even the lunatics that are out on whatever fringe they're on out here that are still like, protesting and saying nasty stuff. It's hard to be divided when your enemy is Mother Nature.
Yeah.
So in this particular instance, I think, that works in our favor. Now, granted, I am perfectly comfortable with the fact that a week from now, this is going to be exploited and twisted and finger pointed to no end, using race, creed, color, finances, whatever way they can do it. But right now, basically, the enemy is Mother Nature.
Yeah. And it's sad that we have to have an enemy, because 95% of the time we're not talking international enemies. We argue more about domestic enemies, and that's kind of the disappointing thing is we haven't figured out a way to share the love a little bit. I know it sounds kind of hippie-ish, but that you know what I mean.
Yeah, and it's doesn't have to be like, light and lovey and unicorn farts and stuff like that.
Well, but I think that's
seriously, it's like I grew up in an Italian expression: if everybody takes care of their own backyard, the neighborhood takes care of itself.
Yep.
Okay. And if I just find in my life, if you apply that, make the 3 feet around you be the world that you want it to be, and then the 6 feet beyond that, the 6 feet beyond that, and then you focus on yourself. And it's like I said today, I don't have time in my real world right now to worry about what little Kimmy Jr.'s having a temper tantrum about, because you know what? That is what it is, and there's 9 million reasons why it's just going to be a dog and pony show and propaganda. And in any event, even if I'm wrong about that, it doesn't matter, because what's happening here in my backyard is infinitely more important.
Yeah. No, it's 100%. That it is sad that a week from now, flip on and spend 10 minutes on Fox News and spend 10 minutes on CNN, and you're going to see the biggest dog and pony show you've ever seen as to how they're going to each try to exploit Hurricane Harvey for their channels. It's going to be disgusting to watch it. They'll forget what happened. They'll make it, oh, it's been a week. We can kind of start talking about this without seeing that we're the evil devil. So we're going to start trying to exploit this for our agendas, and that's scary.
And you know what? The upside to me to that is that these people now that are cold, wet, hungry, and tired and leaning on each other, that if nothing else, this is one of those things that when they sit down in a week and see this shit, that they're going to cry bullshit.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, I mean, you can only hope that people see each other for what they are, like they're seeing each other right now. Because down here, like, nobody's seeing color, nobody's seeing race, nobody's seeing sex, nobody's seeing wealth, nobody's seeing anything.
Nope.
Other than people need help.
That's right. That's right. Well, guys, we are coming up on the top of the hour, and I have no problem stepping on Night Strike's toes, because, hell, he might miss this night. He might not even be on. But just in case that he is, what I want to do is spend the next few minutes, I'm going to go through our panel and plug your channels, plug your shows. Any last comments on any of the topics we have? We can go as long as we want, but I'm going to go through the panel and you guys talk about whatever you want to talk about, closing and plug whatever you got to plug. So let's start with Cycle. What you got, man?
I really don't have anything to plug. I do want to make a point about the flooding situation and all of that, and that is, you really did see again the natural distribution. There are people that are ready and able. There are people that are not ready and need help, and there are pricks that want to take advantage of them. And that's the thing that the progressives just don't seem to understand, that no matter what happens, there's always somebody out there trying to take advantage of you. And that's why you need strong people that can defend themselves and defend their communities.
Love it. Well done. G, what you got?
I'm just basically a troll here, and you were crazy enough to send me a link. So if I have to plug anything, I'm going to plug Texas. I'm going to plug all of our first responders. And by first responders, I just don't mean people with the badges and uniforms. I mean everybody who is literally there.
Absolutely. And I hope you're safe. Like I said, bro, we're all here for you. If you need anything, you just let us know, and we'll make sure we get it down to you. That's not a problem.
Thanks. I'm cool.
Yeah. Grim, what's up, brother?
Not much. All you guys will be in our prayers. That's one thing. Hopefully everything will go well down there. And nothing. All the rest of you in the chat, and best thing to do is support you guys between Ghost and Clover Tech and trying to think everybody else, even Cycle and everybody else. Jump on VidMe. We did that. What was it, last week? Yeah, last Tuesday or Monday or something like that.
It was almost like a week from now, and it's blown up, man.
Yeah, I keep getting the little icon there of, so hit everybody back, support everybody, because that's what we need. And we need to keep fighting the fight. It's gotten a little quiet.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's one of those, it is kind of interesting how it's evolved, where it was an idea, hey, let's try this and let's see what happens. And it's crazy. Big Gunner, I want to plug before you do.
Okay.
He's got a show here in a couple hours, so I'm going to plug it for you also on top of your plug. Go check him out at 10 Eastern, 9 Central. But go ahead, Big.
Yeah, so first, thank you for having me on, too, as well. You're doing a great job with this podcast or this show. And I want to, give a shout out to all those that are out there helping others, whether it's in Texas or anywhere across, the world, really. Thank you for those that actually stand up for what's right and everything around here and everything. And just to plug my show, I guess, you can check it out. I got a website too, biggunner81.com. Big Gunner 81 here on YouTube, of course. We got a live show coming up here in just under an hour. Hopefully I'll get some guests together for that. We'll see how that goes. I got one guy in mind right now and a couple others. Just to tell you briefly what we do, I do a lot of gun and gear reviews on there. And the biggest project I'm working on is the 50 states of AR-15, where we're building a rifle for every state with components from that home state and sharing the not only the products and components from that state, but also a lot of the stories about the companies and doing interviews with company owners and different representatives and so forth to kind of give a taste of our whole great country as far as through America's Rifle. So that's pretty much what I got. And thank you again for having me on.
Oh, no problem. You and I were talking pretty extensively last week about that, and I found it fascinating. And I would love to come to a gun show, where you go to these shows or whatever, and you obviously are going to try to show the one of whatever state you're in. But I would love to see some video reaction when you start doing this. Facebook Live it or something. Film the video of people's reactions of these AR-15s that are basically from that state. And I think that's an awesome idea, and I hope you the best of luck with it. I think it's an awesome idea. You're promoting gun activism. You're promoting the Second Amendment, but you're also promoting state spirit, American pride, and we need a lot more of that. So congratulations, and I wish you nothing but the best with that.
I'll mention one last thought on that pride. The pride in workmanship. We have a lot of manufacturing here in the U.S. Granted, there's some companies that do import some items and so forth, but the vast majority of our firearms industry is manufactured here in the U.S. And you think about United States, manufacturing being kind of not there so much, and everything's overseas. Well, our firearms industry is wonderful for local, homegrown, made in the U.S. products.
Absolutely, and Mel the Nut, he is a freaking nut, but Mel just said, whoop, whoop, Wisconsin has Midwest Industries, Des Tactical, and Vortex. Going to be an awesome rifle. So I'm pretty sure you've already got that worked on.
Wisconsin's done. We got Criterion Barrels, Midwest Industries, MGS Firearms, Bravo Company in there, Vortex. I forget what else. American Defense Manufacturing as well. I think those are – hopefully I'm not missing anybody just to go off the top of my head. But, yeah, a lot of great companies in Wisconsin.
That's awesome. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. I want to make sure you guys on the YouTube side go and check out Hit or Miss. I'm sure that Night Strike is at least in the middle of his first rant. So if you've never seen Hit or Miss, you got to check it out. It's on the Gun Channel side also. I think I put a link out there for everyone on the YouTube side. But go check out Hit or Miss and Night Strike. It's always entertaining, guys. I want to say what's up to everyone, Sergeant Sharp and Hemi and Big Racer and Alien. Let's see here. Raphael's out there. Deuce Driver. Grim, you are now with us, but on the Gun Channel side, Ohio 45 ACP, Alien, Mr. Wright, Enrique. Thank you guys for watching Tactical Tuesday. Please check out my website. It's www.ghosttactical.us. It has all of my links for VidMe and trending and gun channels, Patreon, all the social media, and I appreciate all of your support. And we look forward to doing this show for a long, long time. But until next Tuesday at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, Semper Fi.